From 1983 and new from Vinegar Syndrome is the Devonsville Terror, a movie that I've long wanted to see and I've never had the chance before now. Directed by the always great Uli Lumel and starring Susanna Love, this is a really interesting kind of witch tale that becomes a little bit meandering before having a fantastic climax at the end. At the start of this one, we are throwing into a history lesson of Devonsville. 300 years ago, we have a group of people catching and killing 3 witches, people who have disturbed the town's karma, who have upset people and are having revenge exacted upon them in horrible manners. We see the first person and how they're killed, we see the second person and how they're killed, and then the third person dies, and they may have possibly been a witch of some sort, as this figure comes from the sky and lays a curse on the town of Devonsville. And that's where we jump to 300 years later, to the present day. We meet Susanna Love as Jenny Scanlon, a young woman who's moving to this town to become the school teacher. She is a very attractive woman. She catches an eye of a lot of the men in the town, and things are starting to take a bit of a supernatural and drastic turn. Like I said, it's the anniversary, the 300th anniversary of the death of the witches of this town, and some of the male population start to act a little bit funny.
Are you implying her death wasn't natural?
Pneumonia causes suffocation. At least that's what I've written on this paper here.
We have Dr. Worley, played by Donald Pleasance, a man whose heritage goes back to the beginning of Devonsville and whose relations were a big part in what happened to the witches. And he is under a curse where he is slowly dying by being eaten by maggots from the inside out, and there's lots of gory fun sequences of him pulling these worms out from his body, which is just icky to the thought of it. The worst thing about the Devonsville Terror is the fact that it kind of loses its framework a little bit, becoming a little bit muddled and unsure about what it wants to do. It's not particularly scary. It does have moments of threat and moments of interest in certain sequences. We do see some typical machinations from the characters that I expected, but later on in the film it really builds up a lot of goodwill by having these changes to the typical tropes and creating a really interesting finale, which I found to be rather rewarding. But is it a little bit too little, too late? I enjoyed a lot of the characters of the Devonsville Terror, but I feel it's a movie on rewatch where there'll be long swaths of time where nothing really happens, where you're just stuck, almost treading water, waiting to get to the next interesting sequence, waiting to see the next man become twisted in his morality and how they see the world. This is about sort of masculine power or overpowering the female strength, because these people are individuals, because they have their own thoughts, because they have their own machinations themselves. They know what drives them, and this is not comfortable for the men in this town. They want to almost control everyone round about them, and with their inability to do that, they're ultimately going to build up this rage and tension and exact it near the end, which is what happens to a lot of our characters as they feel that certain new people in the town are the reincarnation of the witches that have to be killed again.
We take care of our own.
Aaron, I don't think you know what you're saying.
Shut up, Myrtle.
We certainly don't want a repeat of what our founding fathers went through, do we?
Which is a great kind of idea of a story. I just feel it's a little bit convoluted and a little bit muddled in getting there. You see it at the start where the 3 characters are just killed, they were flung into the story, only to realise it's a kind of set up, a flashback of what happened. We meet their characters and their almost embarrassment about what happened 300 years ago, and then seeing their journey to become the people like their past generations that are going to exact some sort of revenge against these women again is something that's really nice. I just feel it could have been explored a little bit better, a little bit more in depth. It would have created a sort of better, more solid structure for the film. I liked the Devonsville Terror. It had some good moments. It's got Donald Pleasance, Susanna Love, directed by Uli Lomel, which I kind of like as well. His direction is fine and this not outstanding, but I found the movie to be a little bit lacking in certain moments. Still, I would go back and revisit it again and see how it fares a second time now I'm more comfortable with the story. I would love to know your thoughts on the Devonsville Terror. Let me know in the comment box below whether you loved it, hated it, fell somewhere in the middle. And don't forget to hit this video with a like because it really helps. There is more content up here if you want to see more of my stuff. And in the description box below are links to the Patreon, the membership program, manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Man v Film.